Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. I'm going to request a moment of silence for Leonard G. Grania, a 1977 graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Bertha Henderson, a retired employee of the North Syracuse Central School District. And Liz Chisling, a former Board of Education member for the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. Moving into presentations, our first presentation is a proclamation. The North Syracuse Central School District food service staff has contributed to the health and educational development of our district's children by making nutritious breakfasts and lunches that help students improve grades, increase attention, reduce absence and tardy rates, and improve behavior. The food service staff continues to make positive changes in order to provide nutritional meals that meet the dietary guidelines for Americans and are a dedicated group of professionals. To honor the food service staff of the North Syracuse Central School District and their accomplishments on behalf of our children who attend our schools, I, Pat Svoboda, President of the Board of Education of the North Syracuse Central School District, on behalf of the Board, express our deepest gratitude and proclaim that the week of October 5th through October 9th of 2015 as Food Service Appreciation Week. The recommended action is that we declare this week Food Service Appreciation Week. Do I have a motion? Cash, then Ms. Scanlon is a second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Do we have anybody from food service here? We have two individuals. Okay, our second presentation is 2015-2016 federal grants, presented by Ms. Wilichinsky.
Thank you. So our federal grants are title grants. So the district gets Title I and Title IIA funds from the district, which fund all of our AIS, most of our AIS staff, and our 5 title schools. And up on this chart, you can see the 5 title schools that qualify for Title I funding and Title IIA funding. The 5 schools above are determined by our poverty rate, which is our free and reduced lunch. That's how they are determined. And as you can tell, as time has gone on, pretty steadily our free and reduced lunch have increased. Our AIS staffing, and this is a chart of that, in each of the buildings. Not all of these are covered by Title I funds, in the sense that if they're not a title building, you can't cover the AIS staff through title funding. However, the 5 schools that were in the previous slide, those that are AIS providers, either in math or ELA are under the Title I funding, and Title IIA, you are allowed to do transferability, meaning that you can take Title IIA funding, move it to Title I. That law came in effect 2 years ago, so we did that this year, increasing our AIS staffing by another 2 people, taking that off of the general fund. So that helps with the general fund. Title I here gives you the amounts of in each category. So in professional salaries, you can see what we fund for the teachers that are involved in that. Purchase services would be anything that if we bring a consultant in or if we buy something from a particular company, for instance, System 44 or Read 180 or Math 180, those kinds of things are considered purchase services. Supplies and materials cover AIS materials that are needed. Obviously, benefits and costs are also calculated into that, bring it to the total of $1,376, which is a higher amount. The thing that we have to also keep in mind is that Title I funding also has to be shared with our private schools. So we fund the AIS person in each of the 2 buildings, St. Rose and St. Margaret's. They are funded by us, so I meet with them monthly to go over program and make sure that they are following the same guidelines that we are as a title district. As I just explained to you, the Title I mandates professional development is Title IIA. So if we do anything like that, but in Title IIA, as I just explained to you, we have the transferability option, which we do use because that helps offset our general fund when we do the salaries for our AIS providers. And then there's a mandatory 5% that we have to set aside for our homeless students, and that goes for their counseling services and or transportation. And then 1% of the entire Title I and A has to be set aside for parent involvement. So the 5 buildings that were listed in the second slide have an opportunity to educate their parents using this parent involvement money. And they have to put together a parent involvement plan, has to be submitted for review, and then we go from there. So usually that involves parent nights or parent information. So they might buy pamphlets, they might buy materials that they can help their kids with at home. And again, remember that we have to share that with the private schools as well. Last year, if you recall, we had 2% parent involvement, and that was because for many years we did not set aside the 1%, and we were penalized. And so penalized, you had to put 2% away. This year, we're back in the good, so we're back to 1%. The funds that I was just explaining to you, so Title I has funds that you can use as well as Title IIA, and they go for many of the programs that we have within our district. So Read 180 and Math 180, for example, are in our middle schools. That's something that exclusively our middle schools use for the 5-7 population. And you're hearing a lot more about our Scholastic Reading Inventory and our Scholastic Math Inventory. So you'll hear SRI testing or SMI testing. As you know, we use Ames Web for our screening because K-4 is mandated that you have to screen. We screen all of our students K-8 through 3 times a year as mandated by the AIS regulation. And the difference is we use Ames Web twice a year in middle schools, so our 5 through 7 population has now started to migrate towards Scholastic Reading Inventory and Scholastic Math Inventory, which are much more detailed programs, more diagnostic than Ames Web is. However, staying with the same APPR plan that we had last year, we're back to Ames Web for this year. Do the math, System 44, Handwriting Without Tears. I don't have to read to you, but remember that, again, private schools also are 2 privates, St. Margaret's and St. Rose also have funds that they're given, and they share in many of these same and they're always invited into our staff development, and there have been times that they have joined us. In fact, just last week, we sent 2 of our AIS providers to St. Rose to work with their staff on how to administer Ames Web. Title 2A is just ensuring that we have high-quality teachers and principals within our system, and we hire only highly qualified teachers and principals, and so we have to ensure that, and there is a form that HR has to provide to the state showing their qualifications. And then this is Title 2A funding, and you can see the total bottom line of what we received this year. Again, transferability, we moved that $178,126 to Title I to offset salaries from the general fund. The purchase services go towards all those programs that were just listed before. Supplies and materials, what we've done there is work with different materials such as level reading books for our AIS providers, benefits and the indirect costs that are calculated into that. The one change that will happen here is that Title 2A, we had excess funds from last year, and the reason why we had that is we had the STLE grant, if you recall. And the STLE grant offset many of our supplies and materials and purchase services because we could do a lot of that through our STLE funds. So we have added funding that we have not received yet, but will come back. So when you look at purchase services, $4,000 really doesn't go far. It'll go right back into that because that helps us to fund the different programs that I had mentioned. One of the focus areas that we're looking into is special needs students and making sure that our special ed teachers are just as well versed in System 44 and Read 180 and math.
There are no comments from the audience. Are there any board reports, comments?
Hi. I just wanted to say our next policy committee meeting is October 13th, and we will be welcoming a new student rep to the committee. His name's Jack Irwin. Jack is a junior, and we look forward to meeting him and his valuable participation with the committee.
We had homecoming, obviously, this past weekend, but not only did we have a great win for our football team, but our boys, I only am going to speak to the things that I know, but our boys volleyball team played against Oswego last week, and it was like a 14-year run that we had lost to them that we broke that streak this past week. So it was a good homecoming week, as well as our girls swim team blew Liverpool out of the water. You know, it was quite an amazing meet, and from what I hear, our girls won with great grace, running quite a few exhibition heats to keep that score so it was less embarrassing for our counterparts in Liverpool. So, and then also Starburst it's an amazing event to go to. I went as a date night, which is not always good in my house, but we really enjoyed ourselves. It was a great night. Ms. Cash was there, and the amount of organization that goes into that event, it's amazing to see that people are able to get in and out of that school as quickly as they can, and the number of parent volunteers that you see. You know, we couldn't pull off an event like that without parents supporting their kids, our kids. So, any other comments, Ms. Cash?
Yeah, just to piggyback on the homecoming, I'd like to just say a great big shout out and thank you to a few people without who it wouldn't have happened. Cookie Hillman, Bill LeClaire, Jamie Sullivan, Tim Bednarski, Dave Shaw, Barb Poole, Jennifer Sampson, Kayla Tutt, Brittany House, Mike Cash, Nicolette Cash, Dan Christopher, Kadzak, and the Gillette Road and Roxborough Road parents and PTO that helped make the first homecoming tailgate a huge success Friday night. With all their hard work and dedication throughout the entire process, it would not have happened the way it went down. Secondly, our first legislative committee meeting will be held October 14th at 6 p.m. here at the district office.
You forgot a name yourself for the tailgating. Obviously you and Cookie took that and ran with it. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Ms. Speech?
Well, I certainly want to thank Liz for what she did to pull this homecoming event together. It was an idea that she generated, and the whole concept was to show unity throughout the district. I think it was a concept that was bigger than we originally thought it was going to be, and part way through in the planning, there were a lot of obstacles. And I said to Liz, maybe this isn't the year to do it, and she just said, we're going to do it, and you did. You pulled it off. And the one thing that stands out to me from Friday night was the look on the students' faces when they formed the two lines and the football team ran through. Kids were really in awe, and I definitely think it's an experience that we're always going to remember. Can't help but hope that some of those middle school boys will look up to that, and maybe there'll be a future. I just want to kind of give a report on the special ed study committee. We've been meeting for about a year now, and we action plan. Much is happening. A lot of professional development happening. Over 100, Dawn, it's over 150 people, correct, have signed up for 6 follow-up sessions with Dr. Julie Costin, who spoke. We've got a lot of momentum. And a lot of people willing to learn more about this initiative. Ann Bowles and Vale de Florio have gone as far as looking at numbers right now. One of the goals that we're talking about, and again, it's still in the talking stages, is the possibility of returning all students receiving special services to their homes. So we're looking at numbers. Next, we're going to look at space capacity. And once we determine how much of that we might be able to pull off this coming next September, a lot of programming and professional development, parent communication, and so forth.
One thing that I did forget too was this past week we had a referendum vote, which overwhelmingly passed. And I just wanted to say thank you to Connie, who unexpectedly was in 2 different places at the same time. So I just wanted to say thank you. You know what effort you put into the voting process for us. It really shows how seamless that goes. Especially with the hiccup that we had this past. Thank you very much. So we'll move into the routine action items. Do I have a motion to take A, B, C, and D as a group? Ms. Cash, Ms. Scanlon as a second. All in favor? Looking that way, so. Okay, so the contract award, E, do we have any questions or need for explanation on that? This has been sent back to us due to not right the first time, so I have a motion to take this. Talk. Mr. Harrington, all in favor? That's unanimous. Okay, so the reauthorization for transportation services, do I have a motion? Mr. Marizio, Mr. Schuzda, all in favor? That's unanimous. The impartial hearing settlement, do I have a motion? Ms. Cash? Hanlon, all in favor? That's unanimous. So we'll do C and D together. The acknowledgement of gifts. Hold that up. The financial donations totaling $275 were made to the Main Street Early Education Department in memory of Mary Vaughn, special education teacher who recently passed away. This is one of several. We keep on getting these little by little, but they are adding up very quickly. Mary obviously touched quite a few people in that program. So the Gillette Road Parent-Teacher Group donated $1,724 to the North Syracuse Central School District to reinstate the Gillette Road Middle School newspaper advisor for the 2015-16 school year. The North Syracuse Education Foundation donated $4,057 to the North Syracuse Central School District to reinstate the Cicero North Syracuse High School drumline advisors for the 2015-16 school year. The Roxborough Road Elementary Parent-Teacher Group donated an 8-swing miracle system and 3 benches valued at $8,000 to the North Syracuse Central School District to be installed adjacent to the existing miracle playground at the Roxborough Road Elementary School. The board action is to accept with gratitude, and then putting D into this to reinstate the drumline advisors as well as the newspaper. Do I have a motion? Mr. Farfalia? Mr. Harrington? All in favor? That's unanimous. We would like to approve the resolution to adopt a trademark licensing agreement between the district and the Cicero North Syracuse Varsity Dance Ensemble. Do we have any questions on that? Okay. Do we have a motion, Ms. Cash? Second, Ms. Scanlon. All in favor? That's unanimous. And we'll move into the surplus of marketable vehicles. The district has marketable vehicles at various locations. Marketable surplus, which has some value to others, will be offered for disposal through an online auction conducted by Auctions International. Do I have a motion to accept? Mr. Leone, second, Ms. Cash. All in favor? That's unanimous. We move into the personnel reports. A and B, do I have a motion to accept those as a group? Mr. Schuster, Mr. Farfalia? All in favor? That's unanimous. Do I have a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of hearing a parental appeal of a superintendent's decision, to receive an update on negotiations with the teacher aide, food service, and office personnel bargaining units, to receive an update with one legal matter relative to potential litigation, and to review the individual employment record of 7 individuals with action to follow on the parental appeal. Do I have a motion? Mr. Marizio, Mr. McClintock, all in favor? That's unanimous. Participation in government students. Anybody with a pen can sign.